Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Cool Table. We are in the cut with this has been a long
Glad to
time in
be
the
here.
making. I want to give a shout out to my boy Mike who put me on to you. And
Hey,
this is what happens when you get to see people in person because Mike did a show at the station on Mondays, and that's when I was working at the station basically full time. So every Monday he'd come in like a little half an hour
yeah.
before, so we chop it up, and he'd be like, "Yo, you know who you listening to right now? Who you listening to right now?" He goes, "Yo, this guy
hmm
try Jerelle Fisher, bro. He's talented. Like you should really check him out."
Hey,
I'm like, and
that's
like
dope.
I rock with Mike heavy, so I was like, yeah. Like anyone Mike suggested me, I'm like, yeah, for sure. Let me see what's up. And then you didn't
Yeah,
disappoint.
yeah.
Also, big shout out to
Dope,
Mike for
dope,
giving you
dope.
that initial shout out. Let's take it back first.
Hey,
Get into
thank you, Mike.
yeah. Thank you to Mike before we go forward.
Appreciate it.
Jarrell featuring Beware. Um,
Yeah,
tell me how like I guess the meaning of that kind of project, that name, and I guess where you were.
yeah, yeah. So Beware initially it started as like a production group. It was more like a bunch of producers, and then like I was kind of like rapping on all these beats, and it was like we had like literally like a workshop going. It was crazy, working tracks out of a basement. And it was dope. It was super dope. But then it gets to a point where people are like wanting you to hop on more beats than the other, like that type of stuff, and it just changed. And over the course of like the year or so, I kind of like changed it into like the brand and what I kind of wanted to do. So at that time I was trying to shift it kind of into that way, and we were kind of experimenting everything. So Jarrell featuring Beware, that project was like literally the most experimental thing I've ever done in my life. Because everything on there, like as you could tell, was very different, and it wasn't like the typical like rap song, and the production wasn't typical. It was like my boy Courtney would produce most of like the kicks, 808s, all that kind of stuff, and then Sophie Benero, she's on the stage with me all the time. That's my girl. She plays the keys, and she just touches everything with magic. And then Colton at the time was putting guitar on everything, and it was just very experimental, very instrumental, and it was just something different. We were just kind of spicing it up a bit at that point, trying to shift everything into kind of like Beware being the brand and Jarrell being kind of the name and the artist behind everything. So yeah, we thought we did it nice.
It's crazy because it's like that's such a bold, I guess, entry into the game. Having so many live instruments, like because the level of
Yeah,
production that a lot of people come in with is not usually that high, and or that experimental.
yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like that's a different kind of the way to hop into everything. But I thought of that
yeah,
while preparing for this because the stuff you sent me like recently that's not out yet is very different from that.
yeah,
And that speaks to kind of more maybe more change outside of music than in the booth itself.
yeah.
So I guess tell me about like where you feel like you are differently compared to that because that's what 3 years ago now.
Yeah, that's about like 3 years. So like at that time, I was blessed to go to Metalworks in Mississauga, like the music school, if no one knows what that is. And that's where I met most of everybody I kind of connected with. And so, we were just shooting the shit on everything, just kind of playing around with everything. But my background was always like hip hop, R&B. Like my mom played a lot of like 112, Boys to Men,
The
a
goats.
lot of that, Bill Biv DeVoe, like a lot of that, like Usher. So Usher, like, well, Usher's got my favorite album of all time. I gotta say, Confessions. Like for sure, the storytelling and all that kind of stuff. I just remember it. It's like embedded in my brain. So that's kind of how I write. So now you can kind of see I'm kind of going that way. It's all kind of stuff I've kind of been through or people around me have been through. So something I can actually relate to and have other people relate to at the same time. And kind of it's like therapy to me too. So
I like that. I personally feel like that time between some of the late 80s R&B as well, but like
Yeah.
90s R&B into that mid 2000s R&B, that is like the perfect place that I think music kind of was at its peak. Because there's a level of talent you got to be to even be a part of that group. I
Yeah.
said it before, like
Yeah.
there's some singers you hear now, and it's like, this is American Idol, you're not even making it past whatever round.
Yeah.
This is the 90s, they didn't not even hearing your demo. So it's like,
Nope.
coming from that time, you really had to have the talent to tell those stories. So it's like that's like
Yeah.
the perfect place. That leads me to talking about the Lockdown Pack, because on the
Okay.
first song, I think it's noticing it's almost like a flip of
Yeah.
Lady by D'Angelo.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
That's
that's
dope that you say D'Angelo too. I always get the D'Angelo references, and I love that because he's one of my favorite artists as well. So big up on that.
now D'Angelo the king of R&B to me. So you're not gonna hear any D'Angelo
Hey.
back chat from me. But
Woo-hoo.
I noticed that flip on the beginning, and it made me be like, okay, the
Yeah.
production on this is definitely going to be a whole different vibe from the last tape. Talk
Yeah. My
about
boy Mickey killed it. Yeah.
this, just that intro, because I feel like that intro song sounds a lot like Up All Night, which we're gonna talk about later. But
Yeah.
that intro song
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like almost a precursor to what we're heading into.
What's to come?
So talk about that intro.
Yeah. So that intro really, honestly, was at a really dark time. Like, a good thing was happening at that point. I was moving into the new place, all that kind of stuff. But I was at a really dark time. I just had family member pass away, and just trying to figure out where I was gonna sit. Do you know what I mean? Like just
Mhm.
in life and my path, that kind of stuff. So the song was actually like I mentioned before, like therapy. It was like literally a therapy session. And it just flowed out of me. I remember just kind of writing it, and it was just like, damn, like, where is this kind of coming from? I played it for my mom. My mom like just loved it, and that's like kind of the check on everything.
Yep.
So when that happened, and then Sophie put the check on it, that was it. So I was like, you know what? This is the intro. It's kind of like a confessions. That's where I kind of took it. Was kind of like there was a lot I was kind of speaking. It's like Up All Night, which, like you said, we'll talk about too. But yeah, my boy Mickey killed it, and yeah, it just was a perfect little intro to like what's next and what's to come, because that's like kind of my lane and what I'm good at doing.
Yeah, you started off very honest. There's a part there talking about your granddad, like, watching what's
Yeah,
going on with everyone, and that's something like, there's lots of you said there that I felt for real, and I'm like, I could feel
hey,
what you're going through or putting it on the track. What I like about that song is like the honesty is so it's even more direct, if that makes any sense. Because
yeah,
there's kind of nuances to all these feelings that people don't always touch on, and I felt like you went into a lot of that, and I feel like that's really the strength in your music. Was there
hmm
what was the kind of, I guess, thinking that this is the first track, this might be the track that people hear the most, because like you see it as well. If you go on SoundCloud, Spotify, there's some
yeah.
albums where it's just like a crescendo in terms of how far people listen.
Oh, of
So
course.
it's like,
Attention spans are like,
so it's like that first track is like everyone gonna know all your secrets as soon as they listen to the track, I mean the project. So is that something that
yeah,
you thought about, or were you just like, nah, it's fire, I'm not really
of
worried about that?
course. Of course, I kind of had that thought process kind of when I finished it. Was kind of like I knew it had to be the first of something. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't know what project it had to be the first of yet, because I was working on a few at that time. And so when we went into the second lockdown and all this type of stuff, and everything was getting heavy again, I was like, you know what? Like I haven't dropped music. Everything just keeps getting pushed back because of COVID, all this type of stuff. So I was like, you know what? I got so much music in the vault. I'm just gonna drop a whole pack, and that's kind of what the lockdown pack was. But noticing, I just knew right away that everyone had to hear it, and with the amount of honesty on it, it was everything that I was going through right at that second. So when the lockdown pack dropped, it was really fresh too. So that's what I liked about it as well. So it was really just like me kind of, again, therapy. I'm gonna say that multiple times because that's a lot of what my music does for me. Is getting in the booth is just a therapy session. So
No,
you
no,
know.
we love that. When you sent me Up All Night, it really gave me Say What's Real by Drake vibes. And
Dope,
this is something
dope.
that's kind of under talked about in music a lot, but
Hmm.
when it comes to lyrics, there's the fan that no matter how deep your lyrics are, they're not gonna understand. And when you brought up Confessions,
Yeah,
that's an album that is like that. I saying to my girl the other day, I'm like, there's this rumor that apparently Chili didn't know all the stuff until Confessions came out. And
yeah,
think about like what he's saying, and everyone's singing it in the club and just turning up to what he's saying. But if you actually
yeah,
listen to what he's actually saying, it's like, is a track the place for you to put this? You probably should send her a text or
yeah,
write a letter. But
yeah.
it gives you that space to kind of really, really talk about things you're going through, um, which
Hmm.
makes your music even more heartfelt in the first place. Do you kind of have space, because there's songs on the Lockdown Pack that are not of that ilk, that are still
Yeah,
fire, but do you still have kind of space for that in your music? Because I to me personally, if it was up to me, I would say just do this all the time. I don't want to hear about,
yeah,
I don't want you to party, I don't want you to do nothing else. Tell me
yeah.
how you're feeling
Just be honest.
every
Yeah,
single track. But it's like how honest you are, I think, makes it so stark. Like usually,
yeah,
there's kind of the same level of whether it's a party track or an honest track, but your honesty is kind of at such a high level that when you're not being as honest on a song, it's like, oh,
yeah.
he's cool right now. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
do you feel
I kind of like to do that. Kind of like sit back and kind of be
Mhm,
like, let me just chill out and let me just
mhm,
make a vibe. Like I like vibing out a lot too.
mhm,
Like I'm an entertainer as well. I love dance. I'm gonna be bringing a lot more dance into everything when things open up and I get on bigger stages. That's been a whole thing that doing rap shows and stuff like that has been more difficult. But so yeah, there's gonna be more space to be making choppa sing and songs like that where it's just like straight 808s and kicks where you're just going to more move to the production rather than my flow and what I'm actually saying. Like a good one like that is Don't Miss, a song that I have out right now. I love that song.
yeah,
And that was I remember I finished it and I was like, okay, like it's all right, but it's not the typical Jerelle like honest type track. Like we just finished Look No Further, stuff like that. So I was being more honest on stuff, and then doing Don't Miss, it just kind of lets me let loose. So like tracks like that is just, again, therapeutic in a way. It just kind of brings me back to that in full circle because I can just kind of let the walls down and not be so honest and
mhm.
kind of just create and have fun.
Yeah.
So
The good
you
mix
guys are
of
gonna get tons of that. Half wits,
say
Choppa Sing, two of
less.
my favorite songs on the lockdown.
Say
So
less. Yeah, I like that
yeah,
you have that balance, because a lot of times music can sound monotonous, and I hate this for artists, because I hear people say things like, "Oh, that whole album sounded the same," or
yeah,
that whole thing was one sound." And me knowing what they're talking about on the different songs, I'm like, on this song, this girl broke his heart, and on this song, it's something different. But that
yeah,
doesn't always come across. So it's like you're kind of lucky in that fact, where it's like it's no one's gonna be saying it's the same sound. It's clear that the
yeah.
messages are different. What do you see for kind of your future, in terms of balancing those two? Because you also want to have a balance always, but I think that a lot of times with
Yeah,
artists, what happens is you have a persona. People think of you either one or the other. Drake is one you think of that a lot. Some people just think of Drake as singing Drake, or just think of him as rapping
yeah.
Drake, even though he does both. Is there one that you would like people to think of more when they think of you, if you had to really choose one side?
Um, honestly, honestly, no. I wish
Mhm,
it didn't have to be one thing.
mhm,
Because I'm glad you brought up Drake because Drake is that guy that kind of let me be like, yo, all the poetry I'm writing and all this type of stuff that's more like not so hard when I was back in like high school and stuff like that. I could actually put on a track and make it still sound pretty hard. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Drake always kind of did that with his stuff. Like he would be talking about a girl breaking his heart, but it was still like one of the hardest verses you
It
heard
bang,
that year,
yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just that was one of the things for me where I was like, yo, and he's light skinned too. I was like, damn, like, we could hit that lane. So seeing that just kind of like opened my eyes up to be like, yo, I could do both. But honestly, I would love if people saw me more in the R&B lane. That's more where I typically am gonna sit. I kind of want to get to more of my vocals more. I haven't touched them much, and I'm a pretty big smoker too. So that's one thing where I'm just kind of testing out my vocals and figuring stuff out, and there'll be some of that on these next projects. So we'll see
Okay,
how
okay.
it plays out. But
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that because there's a couple of times on the lockdown where I'm like, he could really go off if he really wanted to hit his vocals, you know. But
thanks, G.
you're kind of
Thank you.
chilling. You're kind of and listen, as someone who smokes too, I feel you. I feel you. Sometimes for me, it kind of
Yeah,
helps my voice. I don't have to hit no high notes, so it helps me a little bit. But
yeah,
not everyone is the weekend or
with the
Bleak.
raspiness.
Yeah, yeah. Let's
Yeah,
let
yeah, 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 yeah.
let's get
Dope.
let's get into Up All Night. There's I want to
Hey,
go get my favorite bar in there because this is like I relate to this 10,000%, 10,000%. And the way that you said this bar too was when I was like, this nigga different. The bar you have in there that
hey,
says,
okay.
I'm more gentle than them other niggas because my mother was my father figure.
Damn.
And why I like that bar so much is because, first of all, to just call yourself gentle in the first place, most rappers would figure out another way to say that. They would just figure out some
Yeah,
way to not say the words gentle, because we know how the stigma is with that. So that's the first part, and then
yeah,
saying, "My mother was my father figure." A lot of people like us who like again, I have both my parents are still together, and that's still the case for me. So it's like
yeah.
there's a lot of people
Amazing. Love
who
hearing it.
a lot of people who feel that way. Who it's like, nah, mom is the real OG. Like Pops is
Hmm.
cool. Mom is a real OG. So I love that you kind of put that in there, and then you talk about how your grandkids will know, um, as well, because we don't always like make that clear. It's like, yo, listen, all the game I'm getting is from her, like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
for a man.
That was the whole line too. That
Mm,
was the whole point of it. Was just I wanted it to just be like that without actually saying that, and it was tricky to get in there, of course. But man, mom cried off that bar, so like that's like honestly one of my favorite bars I ever written. So I'm glad. Right when you said like there's a bar in here, I was like, it better be this one. Oh, sorry, my dog Olive just burst through the door. She knows how to
no, no,
open
no.
doors,
Listen,
so
listen.
she just jumped up in
We got love for all the dogs. We got love for all the dogs.
here. Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's crazy.
I like that line a lot because you basically just said it kind of right off the bat, and then you had another line in there where you said I used to not play my music for the other niggas, and that one I was like, whoo, ain't that the truth? You probably know the J. Cole bar where he says that they don't know that your dreams, they can't shoot them down, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's what I thought of when I heard that. So talk about that in this like the space you're in now, because I can't even imagine you now being afraid to play your music for someone. Like now
Yeah.
hearing the stuff you're doing, knowing you, I'm like, I can't even imagine that. So talk about just like that time and then growing to where you are now in terms of that.
Man, I was making, I'm just gonna close the door quick here, but I was making mad songs. Like I was just testing a lot of stuff out and just playing with the sound, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. So it was a lot of, it could have been trash, who the hell knows, but there was a lot of songs I loved, and just there was a lot of times where I'd even play music at a start, and when people talk over music and stuff like that. So, that type of thing kind of dented the ego and stuff like that. So there was a little bit of like low confidence at that point too. It was me trying to figure out, what was going on, and that's just honesty too. So, I mean, it took time, it took practice, it took, testing stuff out, and all the guys that I was hanging out in the cars with that I wasn't playing the music to, all banging the stuff now. So it just, it makes me, it drives me in a way, it drives me in the way that it's just like, before I was at a point where I was just so nervous to play something for somebody, but I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I'm gonna make another song. I'm gonna, I know this is gonna make someone move, or I know this is gonna make someone's head, bop. I don't know. It's the confidence was just back then. It just wasn't the same as it is now. And it took time. That's basically what it was.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Like that stuff definitely takes time. This is something that you just kind of brought to my attention, thinking about the stuff that you're doing now. How do you kind of
Yeah.
view yourself in the like I guess, a group of other rappers as your peers or people coming up? Because
Yeah.
I said this to Dejan, and I think you fall in this as well. It's like there aren't people who can even make the songs that you're making. You know,
Hey,
even when someone might have
appreciate that. Damn.
no, that's for real. Like you can hear someone have a song, you're like, oh, I wish I would have got that beat. What I would have done with that, and it's
Yeah.
like a a song that you wish you would have got to put your hands on. But a lot of the songs
I
that
say it all the time.
a lot of songs that you're making is like, even if they got that beat, they couldn't do that. And
Hey,
I do
man.
you kind of, I guess, feel that with your music, like going forward with your career? Because that's something that I wonder if, like, on the outside I can see it just from being an
Mhm.
objective listener and hearing it, but do you feel that, like, kind of uniqueness in your music? It's just the sound mixed with how kind of honest you're being and the level of rapping that you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, yes. It's not like I'm sitting there like forcing it out that way. It's more just kind of like I'm starting to notice that there is a lane for what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like there isn't people really talking on beats like this as honest. Like, I mean, on Lockdown Pack as well, I dropped a drill song. You know what I mean? Like there's that drill beat in there, burn one. And I'm even talking about how I'm like, I just freestyled this and now I'm gonna go make some juice. Like, you know what I mean? Like that was my job at the time. So it's like it was even honest in that way. So it's like, I mean, man, I can rap. I'm starting to know that. And it's just, it's taking the time of practicing that and just finding where my vocals sit and where everything sits. And yeah, I mean, short, I notice it, but it comes with it. It just comes with, you know, sticking at it, drive and passion. It's all it's taken me. So
I love to hear that. Love to hear that. I want to talk about Beware clothing, because you got some of the
hey.
most fire merch out, and it's and
Bless.
no and it's visible. What I love about your merch is it's not only when you're dropping something.
Yeah.
In the meantime, between time, I'm still seeing the hoodies, I'm still seeing everything, and it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
quality. So talk about just the whole thing you going on with the Beware merch.
So Beware, we actually started it by like doing merch. So like actually like the Kiss of Death tees and stuff like that were part of our merch line, and we were doing a bunch of tees just on like Gildan and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was like a couple months before like COVID hit, we were sitting there and we were like, we want to change, kind of doing merch to doing kind of a clothing brand. And Sophie has always had, that dream of doing it. I've always had a dream of just, having my foot in, fashion in some sense. I've always loved fashion. I've always looked into, what the what the rappers are wearing, what the R&B singers are wearing. I try to wear the exact same thing, go to try and find it at Winners or, something like it and make some kind of fit like it. So, when we saw the merch was doing what it was doing, we were like, we could take this a little step further. So we worked on suppliers. We're working on distribution now, all kinds of stuff. So it's more of like not only merch, we're doing like a whole clothing brand with Beware to kind of help push the brand even further. And we're working on some really, really cool stuff. So I'm excited about that. But a lot of it's just like revamping right now. So it's a lot I can't really talk about. But like you mentioned, we got the hoodie I just peaked today. So that's coming out soon. We got like a long sleeve coming out. We got our winter spring collection, got a few hats. We got lots we're working
Wow.
on. So yeah.
Busy for sure.
Yeah.
How do you
Always.
how do you kind of decide, like, what are your next moves in 2021? Because obviously, like, it's a pandemic, there's no shows. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do you personally decide, like, what your next moves are gonna be?
Well, right now I kind of look at it as a sense like there's a lot of holes in the game. So there's a lot that can be kind of, you know, filled in, if that makes sense. It's like, example, people are doing shows right now, online, a lot of Instagram shows, that kind of stuff. And we're working on a big one, big production one right now. So that's on the low. Working on it for the end of March. But stuff like that is just like there's new things that you can incorporate into kind of your career to kind of help fuel things. The clothing brand was one of those things that I see a lot of people doing with merch is you know, they're doing a lot more collections dropping, and you know, stuff to help fuel the brand and help fuel their music and the quality of things. So I think that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're just kind of figuring stuff out. You know, it's a perfect time to test things and, you know, keep practicing things. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm working on the sound. I'm working on an album for 2022. So, you know, I got tons of time, tons and tons of time. So that's kind of what we're working on.
Man. So are you telling me we're gonna have to wait a full year to hear another project? I know you. I know that you're not gonna have a.
Nah. There's gonna be like 2 EPs before then.
Okay,
So,
I'm like, there's no way you can disrespect us like
so
that. There's no way.
nah,
There's no way.
nah.
I wasn't gonna buy it. I would have called Cap. If you said I'm not dropping nothing for 2021, I would say that's Cap. There's
Nah,
no.
I can't even keep that a secret either, because it's just like I'm just so excited for the amount of music I have coming out. Because when I dropped the lockdown pack, I was like, I'm tired of holding stuff. I'm
Mhm.
tired. I had like 30 tracks at that point. So it was just like I gotta give people who have been waiting for almost like a full year for music. I was gonna drop a project um like right after the tour. We were gonna go on tour 2 days after COVID hit. It was like March 11th, my birthday. COVID hit, like actually like shut down everything. It's funny because we went to a Gashi concert. Hilarious. We were out there,
Wow,
the only people with masks, like only people in the concert with masks. It was crazy.
that's crazy.
But yeah, so then like 2 days later, we were like sitting in the car with everything packed up, and we were like, do we do this, or you know, do we
Yeah.
not? And yeah, so we took the chance of saying nah, just because it was so fresh, and you
Mhm.
know, who knows who could have had it, what could have happened, you know. So it was just this whole entire thing. We were just gonna play it safe. We had like 8 shows booked, so it was a big hit. We had a lot of artists lined up to play. We had so much merch coming in. It was nuts. We it was a big dent, but
Nah, I remember that. I remember that. I was like, it's this is what I am enjoying about this time we're living in a Panzerati, even though things like that are happening, because it's like I remember that because I was still like going to the station at that time. Like me and Will
Mhm.
were talking about, you know, your tour happening, and I was like, that's pretty big time. And
Hey,
another friend of mine had just like come off his tour, and I was like, you literally got mad lucky that your tour just
yeah,
finished before the world ended. And the music that you're making, including stuff from the lockdown pack, but stuff you're making past that, I feel like is the kind of music we need in a pandemic. And not everyone,
hey,
not everyone, I always feel like has the luxury they could drop multiple times, but it's like
yeah.
I don't think people are gonna get tired of hearing you spit or hearing you be honest.
Hey,
That's not,
I
it's not
appreciate that, man.
that's real. Like that's not something that like people are gonna be tired of hearing. So it's like, you still got kind of ears to feed, even though
Yeah.
um, we can't go on the road. Is there anything you could tell us about the two EPs you have coming this year, or just any like visuals you have drop? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I am not gonna allow you to just be secretive. I'm like I need to know what's
You gonna
happening.
cry.
I know. I need to know, because I'll say this, like, think of a track like Up All Night. Imagine if somehow that made it through the cracks and I came out on a Friday, and I just something else big
Yeah.
came out and I didn't even realize. And then I get back to it 2 months later. I'm gonna be cheesed. I'm gonna be cheesed. I'm like, I didn't hear this when it
Well,
came
it's
out.
funny.
I'm mad.
It's funny that you say that. So maybe you got to keep your eyes out for when Up All Night comes out, because who knows? It might just be more than Up All Night.
Okay, okay. But all right.
Who knows?
Listen,
Who
that
knows?
that's enough for me. That's enough for me. I'll hold on to that information really. Like I
all
yeah.
all I'm gonna say is me and Mickey, who produced Up All Night, who produced Noticing, we have like 6 tracks that I know for sure are like gold. I'm
Okay.
like in love with them. And that's why I'm holding on to them right now. I've had a really bad time with releasing music. I mentioned that. So I hold on to things too long. But these will definitely not. So you guys will see them soon.
That is absolutely music to my ears. You know my email. You know where to send them. If, if you need to
Oh, I'll send
spin,
you some tonight, bro.
yeah, I need to hear those. These are some questions that we ask everyone on the show, and I'm excited to hear what your answers
Yeah.
are for these, because you really got some. good insight. This one is one of my favorites. Everyone says the top 5 people in your life are a good representation of who you are. Now, your top 5 can be a 2
Okay.
or it can be a 10. But who are the top 5 people in your life who help you be you?
Okay. Damn, good question. Not in any specific order, but I'll kind of like say a few things about them. But my little brother for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them actually. Jaden and Macaulay both changed my life when I was introduced to them. Um, I'm the oldest of three, or yeah, three. So
Same here, brother. Same
um,
here.
just yeah, so it's just like, those two definitely helped shape who I am. Obviously my mother is a big influence in my life. Um, who else? Who else? Obviously Sophie. Sophie's a huge influence in my life and a
Don't you
huge
don't you dare
influence
not shout
in.
out Sophie.
Oh, of course, of course. You would have slapped me if I didn't. So yeah, she influences me so much in just everything. She makes me just better all around. And yeah, she just helps inspire the music, helps inspire, everything I create, helps inspire me to just be me. I'd have to say also, my two little cousins. I guess I'm going to group my two brothers and my two little cousins together.
Okay.
So my cousins Noah and Aaliyah, again, when I met them, changed my life. And actually, I mentioned it on Noticing. They were in a car accident earlier this year. Leah, the youngest, she actually like got her mouth like split open. It was pretty crazy. I think like 20 stitches or something crazy like that.
Ooh.
But yeah, so they just definitely influence a lot of my life, and just, things like that help inspire, help change, views, all that type of stuff. I'd have to say definitely this. I it's huge of me to even say this, but I have to say my pops. I just reconnected with him this year.
Damn.
So I've been working on that, and definitely it's helped change my mindset in a few ways for sure. And then I don't know if I can even like nail it down to like one more person, because there's just so many people who influence me. But I'd have to say just, my family I'm very close with. So I'd say like, I have a pretty big family. I got my dad's side who I'm very close with, and then I have my mom's side who I'm like extremely close with, because we all live, really close together. So I'd just say like, my whole family just inspires me to be better, and I'm learning from them every single day. Um, so yeah, that would probably be my top five for sure, for sure, for sure.
Nah, I'm rocking with that. I love to hear when people got a good top 5, because a lot of times some people don't even have a top 2. And when it comes to like
Yeah,
real people in their life, they may have people, but they may not be real people they can go to. So it's like, to hear
yeah,
that you have a solid ass top 5, real people around you, that's huge. And then you talking about your perspective changing from things with your dad is like, that's the biggest thing I've learned in this pandemic is like, I just can't like I don't look at things at all the same. My nan passed basically right before the
sorry to hear
lockdown.
that, man.
Yeah, it was tough. It was right before the lockdown happened. And that's the first time someone like
Yeah,
real close to me passed like that. And I had to give the eulogy, and it was like, it made everything feel so different. And then when this whole
hmm,
thing started, it was like, yeah, like I can't, I'm looking at everybody different. And luckily
yeah.
I had my first live show a little bit before the pandemic happened. And
Hey, hey,
and it
sick.
and it, yeah,
So you got lucky. You
yo,
got lucky.
I got super lucky, super lucky. And even in that, I was like, you know what? I kind of saw who above of my people was at the show, knew about the show, was whatever. And it was like I had
That's
some,
how you know who's real.
for real. And it was a crazy snowstorm, so I already thought people weren't gonna come. And then like I got some dudes were telling me like, yeah, I got like $100 ticket from that night, and I parked in the street. And I'm finding this out months later. So
Yeah,
like that lets me kind of know more how real you are. You know, you didn't
They
come to
held you
that stage.
down. They held you
Exactly. Like
down.
months later, and I only knew because they both had tickets and were talking about it. They weren't even going to tell me.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's like
It's crazy. It's crazy that you say that. I got a story from somebody kind of coming out to a show too. They got locked out of their car in like middle of London, and like it was like they're from Kitchener too, and like we were driving back to Kitchener, but my car was already full, so like I couldn't even hang back. It was this
couldn't
whole
even
thing.
help. Yeah.
Love her to death. Still friends with her today, thank God. She's, you know, Natalie. But yeah, it's like one of those stories. You're just like, holy shit! Like these people hold us down. You know, they're the ones that actually drive us and keep us going. They're the reason why we do this. You know, so so through the pandemic, you know, me even seeing that like I wasn't releasing music, all that kind of stuff, you're probably seeing it right now. You just want to give and give and give, right? You want to just help with opportunities and just like, you know, open doors up for your homies. You know, you just don't know through all this stuff. All this stuff is crazy.
You don't know, and that
Sorry
like,
to cut you off there, but
no. That's why I really wanted us to talk, because I think like all of this music thing, all of us in this music industry, like it all has a different meaning after this past year, you know. And it's like the music that you're creating, things that you're talking about is like, you know, that's kind of where we have to take everything that we're doing, because this music is a soundtrack to our lives. Like I've in the pandemic alive, listening to a lot of Lauryn Hill, a lot of D'Angelo, and a lot of Maxwell. And I think about, like, obviously I love all that music.
You just listed like 3 of the greats.
Oh, bro. Hold on. Let me show you something real quick.
Show me this. Oh God, damn!
My friend got this for my birthday. Yeah, this is how you know it's a serious thing. Shout out to Bridget. But it's like that level of music is the music that can really like hold me down to happen. Like when I'm upset about what happened with George Floyd and how everyone's behaving, like Lil Uzi can't do nothing for me at that time. You know, like
man, I can't deal with the melodic just making shit for making shit no more. I just can't. It's like, of course I'll catch a vibe, but it's just, I don't know. It's just
you have more to offer.
I'd rather be honest. That's it. There's just more to offer. There's more to offer than just, you know, doing what everybody's been doing for the last 10 years. Yeah. You know,
and I think that's important. So it's like, 100%. Like we got to make sure we highlight that. Let's take it to a lighter note, and let's talk about M's. When people get to that level, $100 million, $150 million, they always buy an exotic animal. I don't know why that is. It's just what happens. Mike Tyson with his tiger, Justin Bieber with his monkey. That's just how the game goes.
I forgot about that.
Michael Jackson with his monkey is how the game goes. So when you get to the 100 M's, what animal are you gonna buy?
Honestly, I'm not even too crazy with owning an exotic animal now. So I mean, like I probably wouldn't even, you know, do it. I love animals, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of why I don't want to, you know, keep one captive. But if I wanted an exotic animal, I don't know, it'd be wicked to have like a pet like lion or cheetah or something, or like, you know, something crazy
just
like
for the
that.
vibe.
A huge cat would just like a huge cat would just, I don't know, just cuddling a huge cat would be amazing. I know that sounds so gentle me, you know, but I don't know. And they're loyal too. If like you're good to them, like come on. It's like the next thing to a dog. So
I feel that because I don't have a dog, and I'm kind of waiting to get a dog. But when I was cuddling up with a dog the other day, and I thought about it, I said, you know what, this is mad cozy. So we talk about a huge cat. It's like, imagine the cuddle with a huge cat. Like
that's what I mean. Like I see all the what are they, like lion tamers and whatever, they're all just Tiger like King. Basically wrestling them, and it's like, I want to do that. Like what the hell? Like, so definitely a lion or a tiger. Lay up cozy. I'll feed them. Come on.
I like that one, a lion or a tiger, man. We've gotten all type of answers for that one. I think someone said a parrot.
Parrot would be cool. They get annoying. That's my thing.
They get annoying. Someone said
they're gonna
octopus.
start mimicking me, man. But come on.
I think it was Alexa said that she said that she beatboxes, so she would teach a parrot to beatbox, and they would get down like that.
That would be sick, actually. That would actually be pretty cool. Wow, that changed my perspective right there.
I
Damn,
was like, yeah. I'm like, your parents
damn.
beatboxing?
Because I used to beatbox all the time when I was younger. That was my thing in class. I was just like the
Mhm.
dude in the back of the class,
Yeah, no, no,
you
that,
know.
that was me too. And I went to a mostly white school, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm
Yeah, same. Oh,
and I'm
same.
like you don't know grinding by the clips, like,
You don't know? Come on.
like, nah, for real, like that's really how that went. This one, I feel like you're gonna have an amazing answer for. We do a segment called Wednesday Wisdom on the show every single week. We have
Okay.
a little motivational quote or saying that kind of helps us push through. Brought to you from our boy Brandon Gibbs. What do you kind of either remind yourself or others whenever someone's feeling a little low?
I have one. I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's on my phone. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
I just posted it actually
So it's fresh.
on my Instagram the other day, so it's fresh. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring this one up. Sorry, 1 second.
Nah,
I
go
gotta go to my archive
ahead.
because I
Archive post.
I'm not archive post.
Oh,
Waking up today is just another reason to count your blessings and become a better you than you were yesterday. And that's big on me right now, and that's why I say that too, because it's a challenge for me every single day, of course, as it is for everybody else, especially going through a pandemic. It's mad crazy. So that's definitely what I'd have to leave everybody with there.
yeah, that was a good one.
Hey.
Waking up, waking up every day, is a
Is already a blessing.
yeah, like that. I think that like grateful would be the word that I'd have to say I carried the most through this pandemic. I was a really grateful person before, like
Mm,
when I didn't live at home, I was taking a train
yeah.
far and wide to make sure I can go see my moms
Oh,
when I needed to. Oh, there we go. And
yeah, we're good. We're good. Sorry.
grateful is like how I look at that quote and kind of the place that we should be in collectively as a people in
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
You said it before, nothing is promised. You don't have no clue what's gonna happen. So
No.
we have to be absolutely grateful. If there's anything that you want to kind of leave with the people that are the Jerelle Fisher fans, that
Hey.
either they haven't heard in the music or they just don't know about you, is there anything that you would kind of leave with them that you wish that the fans knew about you?
Um, just taking the music with an open mind. Um, because the music is definitely just me. That's the best way to explain it. I put everything into my music, so the honesty is there, the rawness is there. So just give it a listen, man. That's all. That's all. Just the one thing I've always been about through my whole entire career is that chance. Because if anybody's who's seen a show, I've always been told I put out 120%, and I believe that to see as true. I'm just wild when I get on stage. So yeah, but yeah, I just give it all my all in everything that I do. So just please take in the music with an open mind, and please just something to leave you with, again, more guidance. Just think about the next person next to you, and just think about what they're going through as well. There's like I said, a pandemic going on, so you never can know what's going on with the next person. So just stay open minded, y'all.
This guy is profound. You're right. We are living in a panorama. So
Yes,
definitely
I
take,
love that you say that too.
you
Love that
know,
you say that.
I have to. I one of my jobs I work with kids, and that's how I get them laughing every single time. I start off saying, I don't know if you've heard this, but we're living in a
Yeah.
panzerati.
See, I could tell you had a gentle soul too. This
Nah, bro.
this man.
Listen,
I love how you got the thug look right after that. Like, nah, bro. Like, what you talking about?
yo, yo. When I just got with my girl, we met in the pandemic, starting the pandemic. My friend was like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
like, you're all lovey dovey now. You're in love." I'm like, "Nah, I'm still thugging. Don't get me twisted. I'll break the
I'm
rules.
straight. Like, what you talking
Yeah,
about?
I'll not pay for my parking. I'll download music. Like I'll be bad. Like I'll do what you gotta do. Like
Still thug.
yeah, like
That's funny.
I think like we have to allow men to be gentle souls. I really feel like
Yo,
you being fake hard don't help nobody. Cause I'll still punch you out.
no.
You don't help no one by being fake
I
hard.
used to try and be fake hard all the time. It's crazy.
It's
There's no room for it. No room for it.
Listen, I'm from Scarborough. Anyone knows about Scarborough? No, that's the fake hard capital of Canada. Fake hard capital of Canada. This has been an amazing conversation. I can't wait for
I'm really glad I did this.
No, same. I can't wait for us to get all these projects. That album in 2022, which feels like so long from now, but I've still got no problem waiting. Thank you again for joining us. It's honestly
no, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure. No, thank you. I really appreciate you, taking the time always, opening the DMs and checking out what I have to say, because not many people do that. So keep doing that for other people as well, man, because there's a lot of hidden talents out there, and I like that you're shining light on the people that don't get that light. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for making the heat. All I did was show up. Thank you for making the heat.
Much more on the way.
Thank you. If you're listening to the podcast for the first time, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Leave us a rating and a review. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music.
Please.
5 stars, not a single star less. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. Not a single star less. Make sure you
my Jedi mind tricks.
We're opening our chakras right now. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at The Cool Table Live. We got new episodes coming for you every single Friday. You can listen to The Cool Table Live on CJRU 1280 AM. That's every Wednesday at 11 AM. And of course, you're going to hear some good music from our boy Jerelle on there as well. But until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Hey. Peace.